Hmm. It's not yet time. We've got another 4 minutes, I think, no? 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Cindy.
Hi, hi, Swami.
Hi, Svetlana.
Ayom.
Oh, Svetlana, hi.
Where are you, Svetlana? In Colorado?
Yes,
Okay.
in the mountains.
The mountains. You have snow still?
Last week, not today.
Hmm.
Sorry about that. They promise more snow in May.
In May.
Yes.
Hmm.
Swamiji, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
Um, when I joined first time, 4 weeks ago, you talked about Ravana.
Hmm.
And when you talk about Ravana, we finished,
Hmm.
and I started cooking lunch for Paul. It was lunchtime.
Hmm.
And then I had a huge wave of unconditional love.
Hmm.
And my monkey mind, Anna said, how can I feel unconditional love when you talk about Ravana
Hmm.
the, the whole time? And last time, when you talk about Rudra, it felt like a storm, and I was weeping.
Hmm. Well, let me tell you the first thing. Ravana. You see, nobody is always a prophet and nobody is always a terrorist. In one lifetime, you can be a terrorist, in another lifetime, the person can be a saint. Or in one lifetime, you can be a holy person, and another lifetime, you can be a terrorist. So, this was only one lifetime of Ravana. In fact, he was lucky because he had 3 lifetimes of hating the Supreme. And then he went back to who he was as a great devotee. He made a mistake, came down, paid his dues, and went back. So you're feeling great love for Ravana. There's nothing wrong with it. It's good actually. That is, you are not judging. You're seeing the Atma in Ravana. What he did on the outside was his mind. The mind told him to do wrong things so that he can use it to hate the Supreme Divine. That was his way of getting liberated. So you don't have to judge him because who knows um, what each of us are doing. You know, we are all linked. We are all one consciousness. So if any of us does anything judging another person, for example, we are spreading doubt, we are spreading suspicion, we are spreading anger with somebody, we are spreading resentment. So when you can, if you get this sort of love happening, then don't question it. Just hang on to it. It's just the movement of the divine consciousness within you. That's one thing. Now the second thing you asked, you were saying something else. I forgot. I'm getting
Last last week you talk about Rudra.
Rudra, and you were weeping.
It felt like, I mean, real storm,
Yeah,
very hard, weeping, just weeping and weeping. But it
Rudra.
felt good. It felt very good.
Yeah, Rudra is like that. He makes you weep. That's his name. Rudra itself comes from the word Marud. The Marutis, they are called Marud because they keep crying. And when you leave you see, the story is that Rishi had 2 wives, Aditi and Diti. Aditi is the undivided consciousness, and Diti is the divided consciousness. So, Aditi had 2 sons, that was um, Garuda and Arun. They were 3 parts. So Diti said, I also ought to have children. So uh, she was blessed and she had children. Now, when she had children, the Indra, who was Aditi's son, gods, they were worried, he was worried especially whether Diti's sons would overtake him. So what he did was he went and offered to take care of Diti when she was pregnant. And he served her very well. But it was what he did was trying to manipulate. So one day when she was a little tired and she didn't do her sadhana properly and she was weak, he entered her womb and he cut the child into 7 pieces, the one child. Then these 7 cut pieces started crying. So he was scared he'll be found out. He said, Ma Rud, Ma Rud. That is, don't cry. Rud means cry. Ma means don't. Ma Rud, he said. Then because he was so scared, he cut each of the 7 into 7 pieces. So there were 49 Maruts there. And that just goes to show that. And then Diti went to God and she said, look what has happened. All my children have become separated like this. So God said to her, don't worry, you will be equal status with Indra, be their elder brother. And if you understand it, symbology, the 49 Maruts were different thought energies. And Indra was the concentrated collective energy. All the thoughts together brought into one concentration, like concentration on a psychic symbol, something like that. So the other thoughts are, they dissolve. The prana, which is with all these 49, will become one. So it will become more powerful. And when they become more powerful, then the Rudra enters and pulls that concentrated thought upwards. And if you fight at that point, then Rudra will give you a real good hardship. And when you have that hardship and you're worried, that what happens is the Rudra will give you real good slaps to get you going. For example, you might suddenly, like this corona coming, or like a financial breakdown, or some major crisis that you think, my God, I can't handle it. And instead of fighting at that point, just surrender and say, God, I've come to the end of what I can do. Now I realize that I cannot, for example, you and I cannot raise the stock market up by ourselves, right? You and I cannot do the coronavirus. We are helpless. So then, when you have something like that in your personal life and you become helpless, then you turn round to the divine and you say, look, I'm helpless. I've tried my best. Now you please take over and help me. Then Rudra comes back and slowly helps you up. So you have the tough Rudra, the fierce one who gets annoyed with you when you keep fighting the flow when he is trying to pull you up. And you have the benign Shiva. Rudra is Shiva in his angry, fierce aspect. Then the benign Shiva comes and takes you along the way. So that's why you would have cried, because Rudra is like that.
Thank you so much for all your sharing.
Thank you. I want to thank all of you. I don't know if everybody is here. Want to thank all of you for the very, very generous donation you sent. It has already, part of it has already been used for feeding a lot of hungry people and making provisions. I think about 3,000 people also. They've made monthly ration provisions in packets. It consists of about 3 or 4 kilos oil and 2 kilos means you can say it in pounds. I don't know how much it is. um, two, uh, 2 kilos rice, 4 to 6 kilos um, ragi. That's what they generally eat, the poorer sections. Some vegetables and dal, the pulses for each person. So if you have a house of 5 people, you will get 5 such packets. So everybody is comfortable there. So that's what it's been used for, and whatever is will be used only for that sort of a thing. It won't even go to devotees who are well off. It will go only to the poor and needy. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Shall we start? Okay. sitting quietly. Put your attention at the eyebrow center. And from the eyebrow center, let us chant Om 3 times with the exhaled breath together. Breathing in. Om. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Now somebody asked um, another person in the morning, why do we have desires when we find that desires sometimes hurt us? So this person explained it in a very simple manner. He said, imagine you are A, the letter A, and you have a classmate in school, and this person is B, and B is in competition with A. So B might think that if I see that A loses her book, she won't be able to study, then I can come first. Or B might think, tell A, why don't you take your books home when you're studying, knowing that it's going to rain and A will wet her book, she can't read it. So this is A and B. Then there is another friend in the class who is C. And C is just looking. C's job is to just observe, watch what is happening. She is not to interfere between them both. So you have A and B going on, and C then starts watching and watching and watching, but C can't intervene in between them both. So then A is thinking to herself, if B is so manipulating and I can't do anything about it because I have no control over B, and B has some control over me because B has friends and a standing in society and all that. So I don't want to rub B on the wrong side. And C is not able to do anything, just observing. Then, supposing B tells A to do something which A is not really wanting to do, but out of necessity. Necessity means so that she keeps a relationship with B okay. She does something wrong. So she takes the karma of the wrong thing that she has done. Now then there is a D in all this. The A is your body. B is your mind. C is like the umpire. It's your witness. Can't interfere, but it will just watch. It knows what is happening. But it's not able to do anything. That witnessing is, that awareness is your Jivatma, the soul in you. So A is your body. A does things, but A is actually innocent in the sense that it doesn't try to maneuver and manipulate and all that. That is B does that. And C is the soul in you, the Atma in you, which simply observes what's happening. Now you have another person there, and that is D. So who is D? D is a stadium. You know, that school. A and B can quarrel as much as they like, or they can be friends. They can be, B might be cheating A, but all this is happening within the stadium or within the school premises, school compound. So who is D? D is the divine, Paramatma. Everything is happening within the divine consciousness, whatever we are doing. It is not outside of the divine. We are doing it all within that universal consciousness, thinking we are separate. A is separate, B is separate, C is separate, D is separate. But it's actually that D is the entire campus, C is soul, B is your mind, and A is the body. So this is how things happen in life. So how do you handle B? Because A cannot handle B. The body cannot handle the mind. C is put in a position of just being a witness, cannot interfere either. But B will have all sort of weird ideas as to how to come in front successful, to be in control, all that. So one technique that you do is when you sit down, you close your eyes and look up at your eyebrow center. Look up there, and for about 2 minutes, you just chant Om as you breathe in, Om as you breathe out. Even silently, it's okay. Just do it for 2-3 minutes. I'll tell you when to stop. Do it silently and see what happens. But keep your attention on the eyebrow center. If it's difficult to look at it there with your eyes closed, go to the tip of your nose and go up from the tip of your nose and roll your eyes up to put it on the eyebrow center. Okay, now you can open your eyes. That is the Guru center. The Guru will talk to you from there. So you take your, supposing you're disturbed about something, you're upset, you're angry, or something like that, or you're confused, scared, just go sit somewhere, close your eyes, bring your attention to the tip of the nose with your eyes closed, then roll your eyes upwards till it reaches that eyebrow center. And you keep doing Om, 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 Om. What happens is you are calling or invoking the Guru or any yati of that caliber. Because a guru or a yati of that caliber is in tune with the Omkar. And the Om is in tune with the Paramatma because it's the Paramatma's breath that becomes Om. So that guru at that point will be used for the Paramatma to come into the guru and to guide you at that time. Understood? So we've finished Sundherkand, right? We've reached the point where Hanuman has seen Sita, set fire to Lanka, seen the whole topography, and come back. As soon as they come back, the monkeys are so happy they've reached their goal, so they go into an orchard which belongs to the Sugriva. Now, it used to belong to Vali, but now it belongs to Sugriva. So, Angada, who is Vali's son, goes along with Hanuman, and the whole lot of them go in there and they make a mess. They go and pluck all the fruits, eat it, throw the skins around, pull the leaves and all that. And the security guard goes running to Sugriva and he says, "What on earth is happening here? These monkeys are doing this. And I was supposed to be the security guard. Tomorrow I am going to be thrown out because I didn't do my job." But then when I kept asking them, "Why are you doing this?" some of them punched me, some of them were laughing at me, and they were behaving as if they were drunk, which they were to some extent because eating all the fruits and then, it was fermenting and they were acting like drunk as it is. They were coming back feeling so happy that they found Sita within the time stipulated time. So then what happens is these Lakshmana is standing there and watching, and he sees the security guard saying something to Sugriva, and he says, "What's happening?" So Sugriva says, this is what he says, that the monkeys have broken all the leaves and everything, and they are eating the fruit and they are intoxicated with the fruit. So Lakshmana is getting ready to go there and tell them to stop. Meanwhile, Sugriva says to them that you don't have to worry. They would not do this on their own unless they've fulfilled their promise of finding Sita. So they must be very excited and thrilled about this. That's why they must be doing it. So it's actually good news. And then the security guard tells Sugriva, that orchard belongs to you. What am I to do? He says, you have my permission to let them sit and eat as much as they like, and then ask them to come here and report to Rama. So Angada comes with the entire group of monkeys, and Hanuman leading the front, and they come to Rama and Lakshmana, and Hanuman and Angada says, we have found Sita. So can you tell us what she is doing? Where is she? And Rama is very eager to know. Then they push Hanuman to the front, and then they'll say, he's the one who went, so he knows the details. So Hanuman gives all the details to Rama about what happened, how he went over the ocean, the obstacles he had, and finally how he gave a punch to Lankini who was guarding Lanka, and then how he went inside, the whole thing he says. So Rama says, now that we've found Sita, we have to go and get her back. So then they look at a good muhurta, good time, and then they say they'll go there and find her. Now the question is, how do we cross the ocean? Because it's one thing for Hanuman to go and come back. All the others will not be so skilled. So they're sitting and they're discussing that among themselves. And meanwhile, Sugriva tells them all, you go home and report to your family that you've come back, and get ready and all that. We are going to keep going towards the ocean. Something will come about it. So when they all disappear, Hanuman sits with Rama, and then he explains all the other details that Sita told him. The other day I told you about the crow pecking her. This is a story she tells Hanuman, and she says nobody knew about it. It only Rama and I know. So if you tell Rama, he will know you have definitely met me. And then about how he takes the soil and puts a tika for her, bottu, when it goes off with her sweating. So all this he says, and Rama is so very happy because he knows Hanuman has really seen her. And then he asks Hanuman, what message did she send? And Hanuman says that she said, you have to, Ravana has given me 2 months to surrender to him, otherwise he'll cook me and eat me up. So you should come within a month to save me. So Rama says, what did she say? She's going to survive for a month, he says. And Hanuman is looking at him, and Rama says, you know, I can't even survive for a kshana. Kshana is a moment without Sita. How is it she can survive for a month? So Hanuman says she is surviving because she is constantly repeating the Nama Japa, Rama, 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 Rama. Remember I told you how the name, the Rama Nama is so powerful? That is what is giving her the prana to be alive, he says. So Rama says, okay, now let's go then. So they start out on the way. And then this Yuddha Khandam, this is where we are going to begin now. Yuddha Khandam means the whole, not a chapter, a whole portion of the Ramayana, which is to do with the war, the major war. And this war is in the Maharloka. I told you there are 3 levels down. Bhur Bhuva Swaha, that is the material place, the Antariksham, that is the in-between, and the Swarga, that is a psychic world, where if you do good, you can get a lot of things that you might want. But even that is temporary, because when your good merits decrease, then you got to come back anyway. It's not permanent and you're not immortal. Then you have the higher worlds, which is Jana Tapa Satyam. That is where the rishis, the people who have even given up their bodies have been given to the Panchamahabhutas, And the souls have continued going, and it is disembodied energies who are continuing to do their penance for the good of the world and as instruments of the divine. Then the Tapaloga is where the Siddhi, people who have Siddha, the Siddhis, the people who have Siddhis, who are called the Siddhas, they are in that dimension of consciousness. You will find sometimes a Siddha who is alive and walking around here, or he might be in the form of a bird, or he might be in the form of an animal. That is, these people have so much control over the Pancha Mahabhutas that they will keep one or two Pancha Mahabhutas for their purpose. Should the divine send them back, they are ready to do his work. So they'll have a body may be a tree, body might be a bird. Um, so like that. And then you have Satyam, Satyaloka, where Brahma, the creator, lives, not Brahman, Brahma, the creator is. And in between these two, there is a complete difference in consciousness. That's why Maharloka, it's a bridge between both. And you know, when you have a bridge, it doesn't have the qualities of either the place from which you are leaving or the place to which you are going to. You can't stop on a bridge and build a house and sit there. A bridge is a moving situation, and the bridge can break anytime. You can fall into the water, or you can get stuck on the bridge itself, but you've got to keep moving because other people will be moving with you. So Maharloka is like that, very, very deep, very, very difficult. It's a psychic consciousness altogether moving towards the spiritual. And if you have not practiced your yamas and niyamas, you will get stuck in these psychic dimensions because you might have ambitions, you might be a manipulating person, you might be practicing like Ravana and Kumbhakarna. They practiced so much penance, they had so much pranic energy, they had tapas shakti, but they asked for all the wrong things, which came out of ambition. And ambition comes out of wanting to be in control. Wanting to be in control comes out of feeling helpless and lacking in control. You think that if you lose control over something, you have no say there. You are nobody. So your life is in somebody else's hands. So that sense of inferiority or incompetence makes you want to have power. So people who fight for power are people who are generally powerless in real life. The powerful person will not bother because nothing bothers him. I'm powerful, why should I fight? That's the way the rishis see it. And then you have somebody like Vibhishana. When he also did penance, he was the sattvic component of the three brothers. Kumbhakarna was the tamasic and Ravana was the rajasic. And Vibhishana was the one who said, after all, that when he was asked, what do you want? He said, all I want is to live a dharmic life all my, so long as I'm here. Just don't want to make the wrong choices. Do righteous deeds, help people. So these were the people who were there. And the fight happened in this particular area to start with, the Maharloka, because everybody is swimming. You will see there will be a lot of psychic happenings there. People pretending to be somebody else with a form that they can change at will, bringing in missiles which are of a psychic nature. They can say a mantra and use it to hurt somebody or to help somebody. All these things you will see in the Yuddha Kanda, which is nothing but what happens to all of us when we do sadhana and move into the Maharloka. So you have this point where at the end, Rama is hugging Hanuman and he is saying, I don't know what I can give you in exchange for the good work that you have done. There's nothing I can give you which will be equal to it. So the only thing I have of my own now is myself. So let me hug you, he says. And he hugs Hanuman. And that is also the fact that Paramatma or the divine, when he loves you for the good deeds that you are doing, then he comes by himself and hugs you. And what is this hug? This is called Samadhi. He takes you into his consciousness. It's called Linga Samadhi. There is another Samadhi in which you completely lose your complete personality into the divine. Here you still remain the divine's dasa, the instrument of his work. So it is called a Samadhi where the form still exists. So Hanuman is hugged by Rama, and then everybody has come to the ocean bank, and here you have Rama telling the ocean, he's addressing the ocean, and he is saying, give us some way to cross over so that we can go to Lanka to get Sita. And he asked, one day goes, another day goes, and he asks Vibhishana, what can I do? I'm sorry, I have to tell you about Vibhishana coming. So before they start the bridge, uh, Ravana does something which he has never done before. Because usually he will always lay down the rules. He'll say, you do this, you do that. He doesn't even, people are scared to talk in front of him. But this time, he calls everybody, including Kumbhakarna, who woke up for a day. And he asks them, what shall we do? This is the situation. I've got Sita here. He gives the whole story. And Rama is out here to um, attack me. He's on the other side. This monkey came and did all this havoc in Lanka. What shall we do to set Lanka straight? Because all the buildings have got burnt and all that he's saying. And when he asked them what to do, one of the Rakshasas, the demons, he said, since it was a monkey who did it, let us kill all monkeys. Then another one says, let us kill the monkeys and the men, because there are men also there. And the third one says, you have killed and subdued the entire three worlds with just a few mantras. You know all the mantras and things. Use one of the mantras, and why don't you pretend to be Rama? You can change the form. You see, a psychic person can change a form. And what does it mean? That is in the psychic dimension, if you have a thought, that thought can change the form. A thought that is really evil in intention can seem very helpful and nice and pious. You've seen, somebody will hurt somebody and then they'll say, God, I heard God and he told me to go and kill somebody. You've heard these things when you hear people shoot others and all that. It has changed his form. Even to himself, he can't imagine he's shot somebody dead. So he's underneath, the unconscious mind gives him a reason so he will not feel guilty and suffer the guilt. So he'll say, God told me this. So like this we do it, and often these are called ego defense mechanisms, and most often many times they are unconscious unless you have a strong witnessing capacity which you have used earlier. And the important thing about this witness Shakti is you should not judge, you're just a witness. For example, if you went to the court and the judge is asking a witness, did you see this man beat this lady? He's a witness and he's watching from outside. And if he says, yes, I saw him being very angry and beating the lady, and the judge will tell him, I didn't ask you your speculation about his mood. I only asked you, say yes or no. Did you see him hitting her? So when you look and see what is happening, that is witnessing. When you say, I feel guilty about it, or somebody is, this is not the right way to behave, all this is judgment. Don't get into judgment, because it'll take you a long way, and the ego is very, very powerful. It'll take you a long way, and then it'll come through the back door and tell you why you did it, because you were trying to protect the rest of the world from this person who could have been evil at some other time. So the ego will give you all sorts of forms. It will change its form. So that's what they mean here when you say that this man says, why don't you go as Rama? Anyway, you love her as much as Rama does. You're infatuated with her. So what difference will it make if Rama was not there, and after a few years of grieving, You could have got her heart anyway. That's the way of human beings in general. So why don't you dress as Rama and go? So then he says, I can't dress up like Rama, because if I dress up like Rama and I see somebody else's wife, that is Rama's wife is Sita. Ravana is saying, if I put on the role of Rama and go, I'm looking at another man's wife. As Rama, I will be seeing her as a mother. So it doesn't help at all. So you see, that is the feel people have about Rama. He doesn't look with lust on any person. That is a dharma he shows. So you're safe with Rama in that sense. Then another person is saying, why don't you force her? Look at all these smart alaki Rakshasas. So he says, I can't do that because I have a curse that if I go and force a woman, my head will burst into 1,000 pieces. Because you see, one time when he was going around getting any woman he wanted, he saw a very beautiful girl called Ramba, a celestial dancer. And he went and said, okay, I want you, now you come with me. And he tried to pull her, drag her. And she said to him, she said, you know, I am in the place of your daughter to you because I am married to your son. And if you can try and want to rape me, who am your daughter-in-law, who is in short in the place, Tan, of your daughter, then I will curse you that now if you touch me, your head will burst into 1,000,000 pieces. And if you ever go back and try to pull somebody else's wife at any time in the future, that will be the end of all your penance and everything, because I too have penance behind me. So he's always a bit scared. But this was so much of an infatuation, he couldn't help it. Because if you realize, Sita was in a sense Shiva. No, I told you in the beginning, I said Shiva was Shiva Shakti, Rama was Shakti. And he wanted Shiva, Ravana, very badly. He went to um, Kailash, and with one of his penances, Shiva asked him, what do you want? He says, I want the Atma Lingam. Atma Lingam, he wants Shiva's Atma. And Shiva says, okay, take it, he says. And when he says that and Shakti gets upset, she said, what do you mean? You're giving away your soul to him. So she gets into a pact with Vishnu. She tells Vishnu, look, this is what is happening. Vishnu says, don't worry. So Vishnu goes like either he calls Ganesha or he goes by himself like a young boy. And Ravana is carrying the Atmalingam, and he's been told you mustn't place it on the ground. If you ever place it on the ground, then you won't get it back. So, and Ravana is a very, not just a scholar, he is also a great sadhaka. So every morning, afternoon and evening, he will do his Gayatri mantra. And in the evenings in the water. So he is going on the banks of a sea, and he's thinking he has to go do his Sandhya Vandana, that's a Gayatri mantra, and he's thinking, what will I do with this thing I'm carrying? So a young boy comes there and he says, he looks innocent, he says, look, Sonny, I'll give you this, can you hold it for about 15 minutes? I just go do my prayer and come back. And the boy says, supposing I can't hold it long enough, what do I do? Then he says, then you call out to me and you say, I'm going to keep it on the ground, you say, I'll come running from there. So that pact, that deal is made. The little boy holds on to the Atmalingam. And midway through his prayers, the boy shouts out, I can't hold it, I'm going to place it on the ground. Then he says, wait, 5 minutes, I'm coming, I'm finishing my prayers. So he says, 3 times he says, I'm going to keep it, and then he keeps it. And by the time he comes running, it's kept, and he can't remove it, it's stuck there. So there is a place in South India where this is still standing, that lingam. And yeah, and then he comes and he is so angry both with Parvati, that is Shakti, that is Rama, and with Vishnu for helping. So he takes Sita, who is Shiva, actually, the destroyer. She could have burnt Lanka or even Ravana. But she doesn't do it because she wants to bring the power of Rama to the forefront. So that's why he brings her, puts her there, and he says he has to go through that remorse, that just like what do you call it? I cursed. He was very angry with Vishnu for doing what he did to get in touch and manipulate this whole thing. He says, you will um, cry for your wife with separation, and you'll be yearning for her at one time. But the whole thing rebounded on him because he had to go through that yearning for Sita, for Shiva, whom he could not get because of the lingam disappeared. That was one reason. The second reason Sita had to go to the um, Lanka was Ravana had created such a chaotic, discordant, material world. I mean, everybody was happy. Everybody had palaces like we had before the corona attack came in. But everybody was greedy and taking what they wanted without caring for anything, environment, nothing. So the nature struck back there, and all of them had to pay the price for what they were too greedy about. So Sita comes, and Sita stays there because she is in another form. She is Lakshmi, the Shakti of Shiva, also Mahalakshmi. So what does she do? She stays there and purifies the place. So because Rama is concerned that when Ravana dies, the people should not go back to the good old way of living. Again going back to being greedy and messing up the universe. So he wanted that place to be purified so people get purer ideas. And when they have purer ideas, they won't be so destructive in nature, so that that kingdom can go to Ravana's brother Vibhishana. He had already got this whole thing. Yes. Yeah.
Auntie, I have
Mm.
a question. I'm wondering how can people, Ravana is like, so he's such a devotee of Shiva and he is so advanced in his spiritual self. But how come such a contradiction with his character of being greedy and all? Is that because they're in that psychic dimension?
No, it's because they didn't practice their yamas and niyamas properly. Because you see, when Ravana was a child, nice chap, handsome, scholarly, musician, very generous. But when he and Kumbhakarna were playing as children, his father was a Brahmin. So Ravana is actually a Brahmana who became a Rakshasa by Guna character. That is why when Rama comes back, he thinks I've killed a Brahmana. So I have to do um, uh, a prayashchitta to get over it. So he does it in Rameshwaram. So what happens is the mother is looking, this is a second wife who is a Rakshasi wife, Kesini. And the Rishi Vishravas had another wife, first one. And that first wife's son was Kubera. Now Kubera is the lord of wealth, so he was going on that Pushpaka Vimana where these children were playing. So the mother called these boys and she said, look, that's your stepbrother going up there in that sort of an aeroplane, the Pushpaka Vimana. I said, see how wealthy he is. Your father has cared for them. He doesn't bother about either of you. And you have to be playing here in the sand. What is the point? So these children, the mother puts that seed, the children feel that they're not good enough, this sense of inferiority. She said, well, if you want to do anything when you grow up, do a lot of penance and everything. You can fight with Kubera, take what he has, fight with everybody else. It's in your hands, she says. So they do the penance, they get the Shakti, but the boon they wanted, the unconscious wish for which they are doing it is basically to be in control of all the devatas and for Ravana to get the Pushpaka Vimana, which is what he did. The minute he went and defeated Kubera, he got the Pushpaka Vimana. He went to Kubera's mother and to Aditi, the mother of the gods, and he snatched away her earrings. So he did a lot of that sort of thing, got the umbrella from Indra, whatever was precious to each deity in a particular way. He went and got all that and came. He did that because if you remember, he was one of the brothers Jaya and Vijaya who was standing guard outside Vishnu's place. And the pair of them uh, took the bhaktas for granted, the four children who came there, Sanat Kumara. So they cursed that, look, you made us wait so much, and you also will suffer and feel that separation from the divine. So when Vishnu came there, he said, this is my bhakta. What he says has to come true, because not that because he's a favorite, but the bhakta has merged with the Paramatma, with the divine. The devotee has merged with the divine. So what he does, you're trying to keep the divine from himself when you're not letting those children come. So then they are cursed to be separated. So Vishnu comes and says, "Oh, you choose. You can either be 7 generations loving me, so you go down and you learn to be a devotee all over again, or you can spend 3 lifetimes hating me." So they are horrified. They said, "How can we hate you?" He said, "It's just whether you love me or hate me doesn't mean anything to me." Doesn't, because he has become all these roles, no? Out of himself, he manifests the universe. So he says, if you hate me, you'll come back to me sooner, because what you hate, you'll go on concentrating. What you love, you sort of like take for granted. So when you go on concentrating on me, you will be attracted more and more to me through hatred. Then I can come and liberate you. They said, what will happen if we become more and more hateful? That is not your problem. You are going with this sankalpa, it's my sankalpa, you have accepted it, go and hate me. I'll come some way and protect you. So the people who hated him, like they came as Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, and later the third birth as Shishupala and Dantavaktara, who were killed by Krishna, they all hated the Paramatma. But that was their only chance of being liberated. So the unconscious mind knows. Ravana will say at the end, he'll tell his wife, he says, "You think I don't know that is Rama? But I can't help it. This is Maya. If I go and ask Rama to forgive me, if I surrender to him, he'll forgive me. Then what happens? I continue being the same old chap. I want to be liberated and go back." So that's how it happens. And in
Thank you,
general
Auntie.
also, you have a very deep, now sometimes you will find a company CEO or somebody like that who feels insecure when he's young, and he pushes it inside. He might become a bully, or he might just become a very dominating sort of character. Then when he becomes the boss or a prime minister of a country or some leader anywhere, or you can be just a CEO of a major company, it's doing very well, you're very pleased about it, but you'll always have this underlying sense of not completely competent. I'm not good enough. See, the other fellow is better, so I've got to um, be more successful than him. It's partly it helps as a motivating factor, but over a period of time, you're not able to give it up because you've pushed it right underneath. That is why they say these are your shadows. Look at them. If you don't acknowledge them, then you can do nothing. It will be there till the very end. And Swami Satyananda used to say these will come as images and it will look like they are real. That is why Vishwamitra, he did so much tapasya, but he fell for a second for Menaka. And he, having been a king and had all the beautiful women and so many wives and things like that, that particular thing he didn't handle. So there was always a desire which he pushed underneath, and when he had the power, the desire became a reality. So that is why they say yama niyamas are important before you go into these paths. Because when it is just a question of the mind and the body, you can manage, but when the mind and the psychic energies, then you're stuck. Because you're moving into a universal consciousness, no? Somebody else's idea becomes your idea, you identify with it. Then you might do something that you never really would have done on your own. See how mobs work? When there is a mob, they won't think twice about stoning and killing somebody. if you take each individual in that mob, they won't be able to do it. It's a collective consciousness, the power of it. So that's how it happens.
Thank you, Auntie.
So, um, so this is what the Rakshasas say. And Kumbhakarna, who is awake by then for one day, he says stealing Sita was wrong. Rama is a divine character. But now you can't do anything about it. You've gone and made a mess. Doesn't matter. I will sort it out. I'll go fight and I will kill Rama and come. Remember, he too has to hate. So he's one of them, Jaya Vijaya, no? So next day, Vibhishana says, you people don't realize Rama is Kala, time. Sita is Kali. They look like a man and woman, but in reality, it is the Paramatma, the Parabrahman. So then what happens? And he says, just give Sita back to him. I know Rama will immediately forgive and let you go. So why do you want to get into this major fight? After all, what is a one woman worth for all this? Then Kumbhakarna said, you should have thought of all this before kidnapping Sita. He said, O king, he tells him, don't underestimate even the monkeys. Forget about Rama. You please return Sita. Because Rama Banam, Banam means arrow. Rama's arrow is faster than the wind. It's like the thunderbolt of Indra. And at which time, one of the Rakshasas, there a minister or somebody says to Ravana, why is your brother talking rubbish like this? So Vibhishana tells him, if you really cared for the king, you should give him good advice. Don't just sort of pamper him with everything he's doing just because you want brownie points. Then Indrajit, that is Ravana's son, he says, don't worry about your brother. He talks like a coward always, about Vibhishana. And Vibhishana says, you are no better than your father. Why are you interfering when adults talk? So Ravana gets angry with him for ticking off his son. And he tells him to get out of the council. So now what happens? Valmiki talks about how Vishnu, Krishna says, Krishna will say. Now you'll wonder how is he talking about Krishna, because Krishna has not yet come as an avatar. These are the contradictions sometimes you'll see. He's talking about somebody who is a later birth. But the Shastras themselves will say that time is always these four, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Then Pralaya, that is the whole world is flooded, goes back. Then again Satya Yuga comes, Treta Yuga, Dwapara, Kali Yuga. So in one of the births, you can talk about a Krishna of a previous Yuga. You see, if we are going through 4 yugas, then we start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So in the second time we are doing 1, 2, 3, 4, you can talk about somebody in the third of the previous time. Like that. So, and there he talks about Krishna saying, Patram Pushpam Palam Toyam. That is, you don't have to give me anything, just give me one leaf, one flower, one fruit, a drop of water. That's enough, I will protect you. You don't have to go around getting a whole lot of stuff. And he says patram. Patram means one leaf. He doesn't say patrani. Patrani means leaves. He's asking for just one leaf because that is to give you an idea that the Paramatma does not care for quantity, he cares for quality. Because there's a story that when the Kauravas went to the forest and they prayed to the sun god, who gives them a vessel in which you can, um, food will keep on coming. It's a constant flow. It's called Akshaya Patra. That is, the vessel will never be empty until Draupadi, the wife of these five people, she finishes her food. So what they would do is, everybody would sit and eat, and then Draupadi would wait for everyone to finish, and then she will eat last. So one time Duryodhana, who is sitting there in the palace, knowing that these people have been sent to the forest in exile, he can't keep quiet, you see. So he sends a rishi there. He says, my cousins, they are in the forest. Will you please go and just see if they are okay? Knowing that this particular rishi gets annoyed about the least thing. So he wants him to go and irritate them and then curse them for something. So this Durvasa rishi goes there. And when does he go? He goes at about 3 o'clock in the afternoon with 5 or 6 of his disciples, and he looks, and they all do pranam to him, salute him. Rama, Lakshmana, the Pancha Pandavas and Draupadi. And he says, I am hungry, give me some food. And she's so horrified because she's finished eating. Now there's no food. And if you don't give this man food, he's going to curse. So then luckily he says, let me go to the river. I'll go have my bath and come back. And then you can, I'll have food. So the minute he goes for his bath to the river, she's looking at the pot, and she's even washed it and kept. So she calls out to Krishna, who is who she calls out whenever she's in trouble. So immediately Krishna appears there, and she says, Krishna, I'm in great trouble. And he tells her, okay, we'll discuss it later, Draupadi. Right now I'm terribly hungry. Give me some food. And she thinks to herself, here I'm going to ask him to do something to feed the rishis, and he comes and says, we'll discuss it later. You give me some food. Then she tells him, listen, there is no food because I've washed the vessel. He said, just give me one little bit of anything that's left in the pot. So she says, how can there be anything? I washed it, I'm telling you. So he goes to the pot and he looks down. There's one tiny bit of a spinach leaf. So he takes it and he says, there's this. And she feels so embarrassed that she's not washed it properly. But he eats that spinach leaf. And in a short while, Durvasa and the people come back, that Rishi and his people. And they say, Draupadi, we are so sorry. Just a little while ago, suddenly we started feeling very full, as if we have eaten such a lot. So we are so sorry for bothering you. We'll come another time. So when Krishna ate that one leaf, the whole world, the whole universe was fed. So Durvasa was not hungry anymore. That was just one leaf of spinach. So this is the story that is alluding to when he says, just one leaf, patram, pushpam. Now, pushpam means one flower. And I don't know if you can see this picture behind me. Can you see that? If you can see it, you will see there is an elephant. There is an elephant who used to be king of a country. And he had a fair amount of vanity. And one time he went and splashed in the river where the sages were praying. Half these people get into trouble because they go and irritate the sages, who are minding their own business and doing their own job. So he goes there and he goes on splashing the water with all his queens and things. And the rishi, who's doing his things with his eyes closed, he opens his eyes and he said, if you don't mind, let me continue my. The king is so proud that he splashes some more. So he is born as an elephant king in the next birth. And there he goes to his, with his queens, that's a queen elephants. And he goes there and he gets into the water. It was a nice, pleasant day, and he's splashing around like he always did. And at that time, an alligator comes and bites his leg. If you can see the picture, you can see the alligator there holding his feet. So, anyway, so the alligator comes and holds his feet. The alligator is there at the back. I'll send you a picture. So, this elephant is fighting and fighting. All the other elephants get out of the water very quickly. And he's fighting with the alligator. And he takes 500 years fighting with the alligator. And then, after 500 years, he realizes that his power and being a king and his who he is makes no difference. He's helpless. So then the next he thinks is, the kin have left me, my wives and these ministers and all of them. He says, what are you all standing and watching from the bank? Get in here and save me. So they all try, and it lashes them with its tail and tries to bite them. Big alligator. And then they are not able to handle it. And after some time, after 500 years, they clamber up on the bank. Then what happens is the elephant thinks it is really helpless. Till then it was depending on itself. Ahamkar, that is, I can do it. I have the capacity to do something. Then after 500 years he calls all his people, the things that give him power. That is Mamakar, mine, I and mine. I is mighty and it's lost. Then he thinks, okay, what I have will help me. That also doesn't. And being completely helpless, what he does is he reaches down and he pulls a flower, a lotus flower. That's what you might see on top. And the minute he calls the divine, he says, I'm really helpless. You got to do something. The divine comes immediately and slays the alligator and slays the elephant also, because the elephant was liberated to go back to its own position as the Atma and not to get entangled with all this mess. And so too the alligator, because the alligator also became an alligator because he went around irritating some other sage sometime and got cursed to be an alligator. So this is what Krishna says, Pushpam. All it was one flower. He didn't have to gather a whole mass and tie it around. So Patram, one leaf, Pushpam, one flower, Phalam, one fruit. If you remember Shabri feeding Rama, just one fruit. And Toyam is Draupadi shedding tears when she was in trouble. So he said, if you don't have a drop of water, that's okay. You give me a drop of your tears. Because Nandi also was in a situation where he gave water. So, what he says is, it's not the stuff that you give, but the bhav. Bhav means the feeling with which you give, with true devotion and true helplessness, truly being vulnerable, fragile. So in Tantra, they will say that your vulnerability will be your strength. Because till we feel that we are vulnerable, we'll constantly feel that I can handle it. I don't need anybody. Or I can do it because I've got this and this and this. When you realize that, see the corona now, it doesn't look whether you're a rich man, poor man, whether you're a terrorist, whether you're a holy man, it can hit anybody at any time. So when you realize that at some point, then you say, oh my God, I realize that I'm not all that powerful. You take care of me, I surrender. So this is the meaning of this story. And Valmiki says that the Vibhishana comes a second time in the inner chambers, because he thought, I won't talk to Ravana when he is getting irritated in front of everybody else. I'll talk to him quietly. So he goes, talks to Ravana quietly, and he says that you better leave this girl back. The same thing he says. So Ravana tells him, get out of this place, get out of the palace, get out of Lanka. So Vibhishana leaves immediately and sets out to see Rama. Now we have discussion, a short discussion about Vibhishana, because when he left and went to Rama, there are a lot of people who have this idea that he was actually betraying a brother. Because why would you leave a brother who looked after you? The brother is supposed to be, elder brother is supposed to be like a father because he brings you up from childhood. You usually obey the elder brother. That is the dharma, generally. So if somebody like Vibhishana, you say that he's so um, dharmic and he did not ask for anything else, how is it that he didn't think twice about leaving Ravana and walking out to the enemy? So here there is Valmiki himself will say, Ityuktva Purusham Vakyam Ravanam Ravananujaha Ajagama Muhurtena Yatra Rama Lakshmanaha. That is, this is a commentary by a very famous person called Govindaraja. He says the word used is Ajagama. In other words, he says Vibhishana left the palace and he doesn't say he went to the other shore where Rama and Lakshmana had camped. He says he came to Ajagama because Jagama means he went. Ajagama means he came. In other words, he says that Vibhishana, after the brother would not listen to anything good that he told him, Vibhishana almost felt like an alien in that place. Sometimes it happens, no? You live among maybe in your family or something, and then people are all going the wrong way. Maybe you have people who are drug smugglers or whatever like that, and suddenly you feel you might love them, but at the same time you don't feel comfortable staying there because um, you cannot stand that sort of a negative situation. So when he says Ajagama, Valmiki is saying that it was like arriving home. That is how he felt when he went to Rama after being separated from the dear ones and not like a flight from an enemy's place. So that is one word he says. Then he says, he wanted to share this with you, that's all. So the other thing is Vibhishanastu Dharmatma, they say. That is, Vibhishana was a dharmic person. And Rama also was known to be dharmic. Ramo Vigrahavavan Dharmaha. That is, when you know another person is like you with similar views, you will feel more comfortable going to them than to stay with somebody who is different. Then the other thing is, this Govindaraja says, the speed of his departure is compared to that of a calf which rushes to its mother the moment the ropes are untied. So that's how Vibhishana went, because many Mahatmas say that if they live among people who are opposed to the divine, the supreme, the spiritual force, they feel they are in a cage with fire raging all around them. So this is only a natural reason for what um, you you did. And the other thing is, he says Vibhishana's faith was so complete in Rama that actually he's walking into the enemy camp and he could have been put to death also in any other normal place. He's taking a big chance because he's the enemy's own brother. But he knew that Rama was the supreme in that sense, that he was such a good person, he knew he would never hurt him. So it was with that trust that he went there. And then he says, the other thing is, he says he goes to the camp where Rama and Lakshmana were together. Now the question is, okay, he could have said he went to the camp where Rama was. He doesn't have to bring in Lakshmana into it. Where's the need to say where Rama and Lakshmana? What is Lakshmana's role there? Because in the old days when they wrote these texts, they would not use a single word unless it had meaning in a context. They wouldn't just write a sentence. So why Lakshmana? Because in Sita's absence, he was the, you remember when I told you about Sita, she was the force that would recommend the uh, devotee to the Lord. He would say, even if he made so much mistake, it's okay, he's done one good deed, give him a hand, help him out. So she's a compassionate mother appealing to the father. Now she was not there. So in her absence, Lakshmana took that role. So that is why Valmiki talks about them both being, because in case Rama is a little um, too straight faced in that sense, he knew that Lakshmana would help him. And also, Lakshmana himself had a great devotion for Rama. So he knew he would have a sort of like colleague with similar views there, and it wouldn't be all that hard. Then the other thing they say is there are three reasons why um, this happened. One was the reason was that Ravana lost all sense of proportion. Once he had this blind infatuation with Sita, he could not do anything else. He was going, because of his obsession, he was going to, um, he was no more like an elder brother. He didn't behave like an elder brother. And so the Shastra says that when your family is doing the wrong thing, you don't have to treat them with respect like you would if they were doing the right thing. That is why the story of Prahlada, who chose to go to Vishnu rather than stay and tell his father that he was, um, the father was the greatest god on the earth. He couldn't do it. That's one reason. Second reason is that there are two types of dharma, Samanya dharma and Visesha dharma. Samanya dharma is the righteousness that we all do. Visesha dharma is unusual circumstances. For example, somebody is going to come and kill you, or somebody is going to kill another person. You normally you won't tell a lie, but to save this person's life, you might say, "I don't know where he is. He's not here at home." Now that is called Visesha Dharma. You're allowed to say a lie for the sake of protecting somebody else. And that is what Vibhishana chose between the Samanya Dharma and Visesha Dharma. In other words, Vibhishana realized that Rama was not an ordinary person trying to reclaim his wife. This is Paramatma. This is the Supreme Consciousness. And like him, Tara, who was Vali's wife, and Mandodari, who was Ravana's wife, they both knew right from the beginning that this is no ordinary person. So both of them tried to tell their husbands, don't go into a fight, he's not what he seems, he's something much greater than that. Mandodari, Ravana's wife, will tell him, we'll come to that later. So then there are some people who say that um, Vibhishana knew that if Ravana is killed, he will become the king of Lanka. So there was an ulterior motive. Now that has been ruled out because um, Vibhishana comes and tells Rama that I have given up, I have renounced, I have given up my wife, my children, my entire family, everything that was dear to me, I've given up to come to you, to the Supreme Self. And he says, so that I can serve you, Kainkaryam. Only for that, I don't want anything else. So, in fact, he never wanted the kingdom at all. And Rama tells him that uh, I want you to take charge of the kingdom, and you're doing it on my command. And if you don't do it, that'll be the end of the relationship between you and me, because I want you to do it. Why? Because Rama wanted that after Ravana died, the people shouldn't go back to their bad habits which they had picked up along the way. And he wanted a just and kind king to be there, a good man, a dharmic man, so that the people will be protected from going off the handle. So, all this to say that what Vibhishana did was not out of selfishness or betrayal. He did it with a different perspective altogether. And this commentator says, if he had not been so, Rama would not have allowed him to come in. That's one thing. And secondly, when Vibhishana was crowned much later, Rama gives him the family deity to take to Lanka and worship. And which the same thing he does like Ravana, he puts it on the ground and it gets stuck there. That is the deity in Sri Rangam. It's a place in Shannon. If you come back next time, we'll go there. So then what happens? Vibhishana comes. Now, when Vibhishana comes, another 5 friends go along with him. And Vibhishana has a daughter called Trijata. And she is one of the Rakshasa ladies supposed to be guarding Sita, but she's a kind lady among them. She often takes her into confidence. So she asks, Trijata says, my father is one of Ravana's brothers. And Sita says, you're constantly talking about your dad. How come he hasn't come here at all? So Trijata says, that's because he's very different from Ravana, his elder brother. He's very dharmic. He won't walk into somebody's house like this and all that. He's always in meditation and helping people and all that. And when Vibhishana left Ravana and he was flying, because Rakshasas, they can go above the earth. And Trijata says, look, that man that is flying there, you used to ask me what my father is like, that's my father. And Sita looks at him, oh, she says. And Valmiki says that is the moment when she blesses Vibhishana. So for the first time, Valmiki uses the word Shriman. Shri is Devi, it means all that is auspicious, Mahalakshmi. And Shriman, one with the auspicious Divine Mother's grace. So that's the first time Valmiki means that when he says Shriman Vibhishana. Nobody else is given that name. Meaning that she already gave him the grace. That is, she already told Rama in her mind, look, he's a good man, protect him. So when he goes there, Vibhishana comes and he and 5 people are waiting outside Rama's camp. And the monkeys come and say, there is this man who says he's Ravana's brother and he wants to come to you. So what Rama does, he calls all the main ministers among the monkeys and he says, should we let him in? What shall we do? And Sugriva says, listen to this, Sugriva says, he is Ravana's brother, the brother of an enemy. We should give him capital punishment. Now, do you remember when he is the brother of Vali, he didn't say, I should be given capital punishment. Rama took him. Angada, that is Vali's son, says, very righteously, he says, let's send spies and find out if he's good or not. This Jambavan is the bear who told Hanuman to jump. He says, you've got that potential, he says. So Jambavan says he is like a horoscope, an astrologer also. So he casts all this thing and he says, the time is good, the place is good. If a person comes at this such and such a time to such and such a place, then the reason must be good, he must be a good man. So I think we should call him in. After all this, Rama listens to everybody. Then he looks at Hanuman standing quietly at the back and he says, you have gone to Lanka, you have met Vibhishana. What is your opinion? So you see Hanuman's personality. He knows, but he won't say, hey, I know it, I was there. He didn't. He waited to be asked. That's his humility. So when he is asked, he explained to Rama in a very objective way how when he was flying over and he saw in the beginning, the night when he is going around searching for Sita and all, he hears the Omkar and Rama's name being chanted. He goes down, who's this in Lanka who is praying to Rama? And then he says, Vibhishana, he meets him. And he says, what are you doing here? And Vibhishana says, oh, I'm just saying the name of the Lord. Then Hanuman tells him, What's the point of saying, just saying the name of the Lord when he is right here? Go and help him, he says. So that's already in Vibhishana's mind. That is Hanuman as a guru putting in that seed. So Hanuman says, well, all that was happened. And Rama says to him, one need not be a friend. If he just comes, even if he's a sinner, and if he surrenders to me, I will give him protection, whoever it is. Doesn't matter. So that's why Ramayana is called the Sharanagati Shastra, or the surrendering Shastra. Everybody surrenders to everybody else there. So it's a total and unconditional surrender. And when at earlier on one occasion they say, the Valmiki Ramayana says that Rama praises Lakshmana because Lakshmana is doing, serving him without any condition. He too has left his family behind, his wife behind. And he says, you will get heaven because of the good deeds you're doing. And Lakshmana weeps. He said, it's not me. I haven't done anything. It's your brother Bharata who will get it because he's the one who is truly uh, doing something for you. Because at least I'm with you. He is with nobody there and he's living the way you are living. So then Rama says, forget Vibhishana, even if Ravana comes here in disguise and he says, uh, I, I will give you myself. I will give you my mother Sita. I will forgive him also if he surrenders. So in the um, commentaries, Tulsidas is asked, if Ravana had really come and surrendered, what would Rama do? Because he's already promised his Sri Lanka, the Lanka kingdom to Vibhishana. He says, I'll make you king there. Do good things. Now what will he do with Ravana? And Tulsidas says in the thing that if Ravana had surrendered to Rama, Rama would have given Ayodhya to Ravana, his kingdom, and gone back to the forest. Because anything can happen, but Rama's word will never be broken. When he gives a word, it lasts. Anything else can change. So that is what Rama was known for. Then when he asks Ravana, Vibhishana about what is the situation in Lanka, is it time? One more minute, huh? Wait, we can almost stop at this level. When he asks Ravana, he asks Vibhishana, tell me about the power of the Rakshasas. He didn't say your brother because Rama had already accepted Vibhishana as his brother. So he never thought of him as being Ravana's brother. They say, Rama says, now I have 7 brothers. I have the 3 in Ayodhya. Then I have one who is Guha, the tribal who rode him across. Then he has Sugriva, who is there. And then he has who? 6 brothers. And now he has Vibhishana as a brother. So Vibhishana is a Rakshasa, Sugriva is a monkey king, um, the other Guha is a tribal. So Rama did not have boundaries. He only saw the devotion and the surrender. It didn't matter to him if Shabari was like that. It didn't matter to him that she was a tribal girl. So this is what they are trying to say. Rama had no barriers, and anybody who surrenders to Rama even now will always be protected and helped by Rama. That is why the Rama Nama is so powerful. If you go to Krishna, he will also protect you. It's the same being. But Krishna's personality was different. He'll make you wait for a little while. He'll play a game giving you a bit of a scare in between. And then he'll do it in a roundabout way. You don't even know he's doing something. and all the time he'll smile. So they are um, uh, different people. So I think we should stop here. We'll continue with the Yuddha Kanda. May go on for a week, for 2 3 weeks, because you go to talk about the people who were in the battle and how they were defeated and things. Okay, I think it's time, no? To 23:51. That's what.
Auntie Indu wants to ask a question.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Why not?
Um, Earlier when you were talking about Vibhishana and you were saying that he doesn't have to, um, if someone in your family is doing the wrong thing, then you don't have to necessarily give them respect because what they're doing is wrong. But I feel like for us culturally, a lot of the time we're taught to, if someone older says something that's wrong or that's disrespectful, just because they're elder, we're not supposed to say anything back or correct them and say that that's rude. Um, I guess I just wanted to know what you,
Thought about it.
yeah.
But it's this. Now you have to, both have to be fair in such a situation. If you're going to do something wrong, and your parents, for example, I guess you're talking about your parents or the other elders,
Yeah.
anybody elder, cares for you enough to feel that you might get into trouble when you go on the wrong way, then you respect them as people for their experience and you sit and have a chat. Why would you say that? You ask them straight. You say, and supposing they say you're too young, you don't know what you're doing, then explain to them how you can actually, you're responsible, and show them that you're responsible about things and say, give me a chance, let me go and do. Now that is different from you're wanting to do a real wrong thing. Like, for example, Ravana had stolen another man's wife and brought her home and kept her there until she agrees. Otherwise, he said he would eat her up. And he's brought the enemy to his gates. Like if you had a brother, I don't know if you have a brother, do you? No,
Yeah.
you do. Okay. Suppose, this is just hypothetical. I'm sure he wouldn't do anything of the sort. Suppose he went out and he saw another man's wife and he was infatuated with her. He grabs her and drags her home. It's not like she walks voluntarily. And she comes home and the family says, what have you done? The other man is going to come and bash you up. The police will be at our door. What are you doing? And he stands there and says, that's the way I am. That's what I'll do. It's nothing to do with you. Either you help me or get out of the house. Now, that's a sort of a wrongdoing they are talking about. Then it becomes difficult for you to handle it. Difficult for anybody. When if it's something ordinary, which is wrong only by social standards, see, that's the difference. Dharma is not a social understanding. It's not morality. It's not ethics in that sense, because every society will have a different ethical viewpoint. But when you know inside that I'm going to be hurting somebody by doing such and such a thing, then you can think about it twice. And if you still feel that you're in the right, say, for example, I want to choose my area of work or study, and then somebody tells you, an elder says, no, no, don't go, these are the problems. Give them the respect of listening to it, and then come back and say, look, I understand you care, and these are the reasons you are saying, but it does not apply to me because I can handle this, this, and this. So there you don't need to disrespect the person. You have your freedom to express your right to follow what you're doing, provided you feel it's the right thing and it's not going to hurt you tomorrow. You've got to look at it very carefully. That's the way it is.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Auntie.
you.
Satisfy you?
That's a-
That satisfy you? The answer?
Oh, yes, yeah.
It does. You have your freedom, the elders have their freedom. Depends on what they are stopping you from. You say, I'm going to take drugs, that's the way I like to be. Now they have to come and stop you. Now that is damaging yourself. But if it's something that's not really damaging you and they are just afraid or they are caring about you, then you have the right to say that I would like to do this because I like this and this and this. and tell me why you think I should not be doing it, and show them how you're different.
What if it's a situation where someone older than you is doing something that hurts someone else, it's not affecting you directly, but you think it's wrong that they're hurting someone else?
Well, if they ask you for your opinion, then you can give it. If they don't ask you for your opinion, you don't have to go and get into their business, because you don't know the context there. Because you might perceive it as somebody hurting someone. I don't know the situation, I'm talking in general. But the other person may be asking to be hurt and then getting hurt because of that. Or you might have somebody who may be an annoying person around. You don't have to get hurt. You just say that, I'll tell you a little story. Not a story, but a quick thing. This happened at home. I have a grandson. He's 7 years old. And he was being yelled at for doing something which wasn't actually wrong. You know how children can be very buoyant and then they irritate adults' parents when they're doing something. And then he was getting yelled at. And then he came to me with a weepy face, and he does a bit of drama also, by the way, and Shannon knows. So he came, Papa is yelling at me all the time. I don't know why everybody is yelling at me in this house. So I said to him, I said, just because they yell at you, why are you upset, Ishan? I said. He says, because he says I'm not being very intelligent, I'm being stupid. I said, because he says you're stupid, have you become stupid? He said, no. I said, then when he calls you stupid another time, you just say to yourself that I'm not stupid, because I have to say sorry to him. I said, yes, you can say sorry, but I'm in the right, I'm not wrong. I said, you say sorry, not meaning that I'm in the wrong and so I'm apologizing. You're saying sorry, I'm sorry that you're feeling sad. That's what you're going to say. But you don't have to explain all this. Just say I'm sorry. Then they'll feel better. When they feel better, you'll feel better. So he said, okay. And then he went off to the fridge and he found out some whipped cream. He said, I want to give you some whipped cream party, he said. I said, thank you. So he gave me whipped cream. So now we have a deal. I said, whenever you're looking upset, if somebody is yelling at you or something, you think of whipped cream, I said, because we became friends in such a situation. So he said, okay. And he was very pleased. I said, I was so happy you gave me that whipped cream. If your dad hadn't said he was stupid and you hadn't got upset, I wouldn't have got whipped cream. And I'm so happy with you for giving me that. So now, if he gets a yelling for nothing that he has done and he's looking sad, I'll just sit down quietly on the side and say, whipped cream, and he'll grin. So that's the way, if somebody is angry with somebody else, you don't know the full context. If you want to get into it to help, then you've got to get into it with the full context, for which you cannot have a conditioned mind. You might be fond of one parent and the other parent might shout and you might feel, it's not very fair or something like that. But believe me, parents know how to handle their annoyances. Because you might be messing up things. You might be putting them against each other, because one might say, now why did you tell her and why did she come and ask me? And once all this is past, they'll get over it, they'll be fine, and you too will be fine, and you'll be glad you didn't put your little bit in there.
Thank you.
But you can, when you go near them, if they're upset or something, you just sit quietly in a corner, close your eyes, pure attention on your eyebrow center, and just silently chant Om with your inhalation and Om with your exhalation. You keep doing that, the atmosphere will get more pleasant. Try it. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you, Auntie.
Thank you. Hari Om.
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 Hari Om. And since all of you are here, I just spoke to the one or two people in the beginning. I just want to thank all of you for the wonderful generosity of your donations, because a lot of people, 3,000 people, have been fed already and given rations for a month, packets of rations for a month out of the money that all of you sent. And whatever you sent will be used for such purposes only. So thank you very much. The blessings of all these people will come to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Auntie.
You, Tom. So we'll finish now. We'll continue the Yuddha Kanda. So what do I do now? Put the cross.